Good afternoon. It's Monday, May 8th. I'm Aryeh O'Sullivan, and this is IBA News broadcasting from Jerusalem. Security forces shot and killed a knife-wielding female Palestinian terrorist yesterday afternoon after she attempted to stab border police deployed at the Old City's Damascus Gate. The terrorist was later identified as 16-year-old Fatima Hajiji from the town near Ramallah. Police said she shouted Allahu Akbar, God is great, as she raced towards police officers standing on the steps in front of the Damascus Gate. A farewell letter was found in her possession in which she quoted a verse from the Quran that she was signed off with the words Shaheed, Arabic for martyr. Yesterday's attack occurred despite a heightened security presence in the capital ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's visit and the planned celebrations marking the 50th years of reunification of Jerusalem. The Israel Prison Service released footage of Marwan Barghouti, who initiated the Palestinian security prisoners' hunger strike, eating inside his cell. The footage released yesterday shows the Fatah leader, who is serving 5 life sentences for the murder of Israelis, eating on April 27th and May 5th. Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan accused Barghouti of cynically exploiting the Palestinian prisoners who joined him in the hunger strike, saying they are paying a heavy price, but Barghouti himself cannot restrain his own appetite. At a press conference in Ramallah yesterday, Barghouti's wife, Fawdwa, accused the Israeli authorities of fabricating the video clips. Out of some 6,500 Palestinian security prisoners incarcerated in Israel, a small percentage of less than 700 Palestinian prisoners are participating in the hunger strike. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu lashed out at international news outlets for describing the new Hamas protocol as moderate, since the terrorist organization continues to reject Israel's right to exist and calls for an armed struggle against the Jewish state.
Ever wonder what fake news is? Last week, headlines in CNN, Al Jazeera, and The Guardian said that Hamas now accepts a Palestinian state along the 1967 lines. The New York Times headline called this moderation. The intimation is that Hamas now accepts a state of Israel. Great news, right? Well, except for one small detail. This is a complete distortion of the truth. The new Hamas document says that Israel has no right to exist. It says every inch of our land belongs to the Palestinians. It says there is no acceptable solution other than to remove Israel. So why does Hamas say there's a consensus for a smaller Palestinian state now? In order to destroy Israel later. They want to use their state to destroy our state. Is moving from calling for genocide of all Jews to calling just for the annihilation of Israel, is that progress or moderation? Only if you have no standards whatsoever. It's bad enough that Hamas lies to the world. We don't also have to lie to ourselves. Hamas murders women and children. It's launched tens of thousands of missiles at our homes. It brainwashes Palestinian kids in suicide kindergarten camps. So, where does this hate-filled document belong? Right there.
Police inaugurated the first community police station in the East Jerusalem Shuafat refugee camp yesterday, aimed at heightening a sense of public security in the Arab sector. The project is part of a 1 billion shekel initiative which calls to the establishment of 6 police stations in East Jerusalem neighborhoods that will monitor criminal and terrorist activities. An additional 1,200 police officers will be deployed in the neighborhoods, and some 200 surveillance cameras will be set up to keep an eye on the situation in the neighborhoods. The additional 5 police stations will be established in Jabal Mukaber, Isawiya, Beit Safafa, Atur, and Tzur Bachar.
If you look in the past, 5 years ago, and now, if you compare these 2 periods, now is better.
Why?
For me, they are controlling some kind of crimes. Yeah, look, to be honest with you, they are controlling crimes.
Emmanuel Macron claimed a dramatic victory in France's presidential elections, clinching 66% of the vote against National Front candidate Marine Le Pen, who garnered 34% of the vote. Speaking before thousands of supporters cheering for his victory, the former banker declared, "A new page in our long history opens tonight. I want it to be one of hope and confidence regained." Acknowledging his victory, he told the supporters he wanted to ensure Le Pen voters no longer have a reason to vote for an extremist position. With parliamentary elections next month, the 39-year-old Macron, who will be the country's youngest president, will be campaigning on behalf of his new movement, En Marche, that was founded just a year ago. If his party fails to gain a majority, they may have to form a coalition. On her part, Le Pen said the elections showed a division between patriots and globalists and declared her National Front Party will need to renew itself and undergo a deep transformation. Well, joining us now in the studio to discuss the results of the French elections is Dr. Dov Maimon, head of the Jewish People Policy Institute's European desk. Dov, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Hello.
So, Dr. Maimon, Emmanuel Macron will be the country's youngest leader to lead France. And his challenge now is for his party to receive seats in the parliament, and he's an independent candidate. And now the era of the left and the right-wing parties is gone. So how is this going to pan out?
Yeah, first, it's a day to celebrate because we see that the French people have decided not to serve and not to vote for fascist party and far right. And so it's a new day, and there are now a lot of challenges. What is going to happen now, it's in 2 weeks from now, in the June 7 and then June 18, we'll have the election for a parliament, the National Assembly. And then, because Macron doesn't have any party with him, he has to win all the seats to have a majority. The system in France is a half presidential regime, which means that he needs also the prime minister will be a representative of a majority of the assembly. So he's going to if he doesn't manage to win or to make coalition with them, he will not be able to confront all the challenges he has.
You know, many people in France voted for Macron to prevent Le Pen from winning the race. What does it say about France?
Yeah, we have published at the Jewish People Policy Institute a big study about the people who are against anti-system in Europe, because it's not only in France. We have the same people in England and in Germany, Austria, and Holland, and so on. So it's a big challenge. And the way he is going to meet with them is he has to really to confront all the challenges and to deliver. And he is going to do that. He can do that, but he has challenges. The two main challenges is one regarding identity, and the second one is regarding economy. The economy in France is really bad at the moment. It's decreasing. The people feel that there are no horizon. Everything is closed for them now. So the reason that 50% of the French people at the first vote, they voted for anti-system party, far right and far left, who just want to close the borders, not to go to globalization. And then he has to convince all these people, as you have said, to convince them there is a chance, there is hope, and we can go to other way, not to fear, but to have hope in the people, to include all the people, including 15% of the people are Muslims, and to bring these people inside and to bring a system which will be able to confront on the global scene.
Let's talk about the Jewish community of France. How is this going to impact them?
Yeah, for the French people, French community is happy that it's not a fascist, anti-Semitic. Remember that Le Pen has said that it will be forbidden to have a kippah, to have also ritual slaughtering, and to have a Brit Milah. So it could have been a very bad thing, and especially she wanted to forbid transfer of public funds to Jewish organizations, which is very bad. For sure, the Jews is not the real challenge. The challenge is the Muslim community, and the Jews are a kind of collateral damage of a civilizational war. But so he's going to be on the identity. But the main thing he has to do is to bring the challenge of going to startups and high tech. And if he doesn't do that, he will have the same problem that we know in America with all the population who didn't adapt. And that it's also an opportunity maybe for Israel, because Israel could be a partner in the high tech. I met him last year when he came to Israel, and he was very, very interested in all the startup, all the high tech. So regarding the Jews in France, they are happy that they are not fascism anymore, but it's not only 5 years to wait and see. And what could happen? We have two scenarios. One is if he succeeds, to all what you have said, it will be a good life in France, maybe. It's very difficult, but we can imagine that can make it. But it will be a lot of Muslims at all the key positions in France. And unfortunately, 70% of the Muslims don't like so much the Jews, and 25% of the Muslims support fundamentalism. So it's not very happy for the Jews. But on the other side, it doesn't succeed. They have 5 years to prepare their suitcases and to look for new horizon. Maybe Israel, if Israel state is able to bring them a solution for them.
Well, Dr. Dov Maimon of the Jewish People Policy Institute. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay. The Dawabsha family, who lost 3 of its members in the Duma village firebomb attack by Israeli terrorists in July 2015, is suing the Israeli government to the tune of 10 million shekels for damages. In the suit to be filed at the Nazareth District Court, the family claims the Israeli government is responsible for the deaths of the parents Saeed and Riham and their 18-month-old son Ali, and accuses the government of fostering an atmosphere of hatred and incitement that led to the attack. Israeli Zamiram Ben Uliel and 16-year-old Israeli minor were indicted last year. Ben Uliel was charged on 3 counts of murder, attempted murder, arson, and conspiracy to commit a racist-motivated felony, and the minor on lesser charges. Other Israeli suspects were detained and questioned and later released from police custody. Imad Akbahir, an 18-year-old Palestinian terrorist from Nablus, was indicted in the Tel Aviv District Court today for a stabbing attack in Tel Aviv some weeks ago. Akbahir was indicted on 4 charges of attempted murder and committing an act of terror. According to the charge sheet, he allegedly planned the attack for more than a month, with the intention of killing Jews and becoming a martyr. He arrived in Tel Aviv as part of a tour group making an authorized leisure trip inside Tel Aviv after receiving a special one-day permit for the visit. He left the tour bus as it made its first stop in Tel Aviv and started his stabbing spree, injuring 4 people. Aware he would be unable to smuggle a weapon to Israel, he fouled the metallic part of his belt, turning it into a sharp object which he used in the stabbings. A 5-judge panel at the Military Appeals Court in Tel Aviv convened for the 2nd day of hearings this morning on the appeal lodged by the lawyer of IDF soldier Elar Azaria. The soldier was sentenced to 18 months in prison on manslaughter charges for shooting an incapacitated terrorist in Hebron in March last year. Defense attorney Yoram Sheftel is seeking to have the soldier's conviction overturned and the prison sentence handed down to the soldier reduced. The prosecution is demanding that the court impose a harsher prison sentence on the soldier. In last year's incident, Abdel El Fattah El Sharif and another terrorist, both armed with knives, wounded 1 soldier in a stabbing spree before they were neutralized. The Knesset today reconvened for the start of its summer session following a nearly month-long break. Topping the lawmakers' agenda is the public broadcasting bill, which is being prepared for its 2nd and 3rd readings. The Special Knesset Committee, headed by Coalition Chairman David Bitan, convened for the 2nd straight day of marathon discussions over the proposal to create an independent news division that will be separate from the Public Broadcasting Corporation, which is slated to begin operations on the 15th of May. Committee MKs are reviewing the possibility of another extension until the end of the month, but a decision on that matter has yet to be made. A finalized draft of the bill is expected by Wednesday, when the proposal will be brought for a vote at the plenum. As of this hour, barring any last-minute changes, the new corporation is set to launch next week, replacing the existing Israel Broadcasting Authority and bringing an end to this English news program. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the U.S. Army, General Joseph Dunford, landed in Israel today as the guest of Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Gadi Eisenkot. Dunford will meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman tomorrow. According to the reports, the situation in the Middle East, the ongoing civil war in Syria, and the transfer of arms to Hezbollah, as well as terror groups in the Sinai Peninsula, are among the topics he will be discussing in meetings with Israeli officials. This trip is Dunford's 3rd visit to the Jewish state since he was appointed chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Just last month, U.S. Secretary of Defense James Mattis visited Israel on his first official visit since being appointed to the position. 17 years after Israel's pullout from South Lebanon, the cornerstone was laid yesterday for the 650 fallen members of the South Lebanon Army Militia. The monument will be next to the Fatima Gate near Metula. The original monument was located not far away near the town of Marjayun, but Hezbollah destroyed it shortly after taking over the area after the pullout in May 2000. Some 7,000 SLA fighters retreated into Israel. Of these, a few hundred remain in Israel and rebuilt their lives here. Sebastian Gorka, a senior foreign ministry advisor to President Trump, has rejected reports that he had ties with pro-fascist groups in Hungary and harbors anti-Semitic views. Speaking at the annual Jerusalem Post conference in New York, Gorka said the president will obliterate the jihadi threat. Transportation and Intelligence Minister Israel Katz said that the United States should recognize Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And Yuval Steinitz, the National Infrastructure, Energy and Water Minister, blasted the Palestinian Authority, saying he doubts a peace process is possible with the anti-Semitic PA leader Mahmoud Abbas. In finance, shares on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange were up, while the shekel put in a mixed performance in foreign currency trading. Here are the late afternoon numbers. Turning to the weather, and it looks like a heat wave will be hitting us tomorrow. Temperatures are expected to rise a lot. Here are the expected highs and lows at home and abroad for the next 24 hours. That's our broadcast for today. Please join us again tomorrow when Laura Cornfield will be here at this desk to bring you the latest news from Israel. I'm Aryeh O'Sullivan, wishing you a pleasant evening. Shalom from Jerusalem.